Hi everyone, this is BritSimon. I wanted to guide or create this video to guide DV2023 applicants regarding their next steps after the DS260 submission. So just to recap, you're going to submit your DS260 first of all. What happens with that is it goes through a bit of processing. We don't quite know yet how KCC will be processing those DS260s, but clearly, in the past, they have opened DS260s in the order in which they're submitted. However, there is an aspect of case number which sort of applies to all of this processing, and we don't know for sure what process they're going to use for going forward, right? So for now, don't worry about, am I going to get processed on Tuesday next week, or is it going to be Wednesday? Just forget when you're going to get processed for now. Just focus on the steps that you need to take. The next step after DS260 processing normally is to submit your documents, okay? And I'm going to come on to this at the moment, in a moment, as to whether that's really necessary or not this year. We don't know, so I want to get into that. After you've submitted your documents, then you wait until your case number is current, is available. And even if you've got the very lowest case number, there is going to be no processing, no interviews, or sorry, I shouldn't say no processing. There should be processing, but there'll be no interviews until October 1st of this year, okay? And then depending on your case number, that case number, determines when in the year you get when you get scheduled. Okay, so there's time. We're sitting here in mid-May. Nobody is going to get interviewed from DV 2023. Doesn't matter what they do until the beginning of October at the earliest, and that will only be for the very lowest numbers. So for many of you, you've got a long wait ahead. But there are some things that you need to do before that in order to process your case, right? So DS260 submission is the first thing. Hopefully you didn't screw that up. Hopefully you answered all the questions correctly. You were completely honest in your DS260. You gave the full history of your education back to age 12. You've given the full history of your work experience. You've given full history of your address, location, experience, travel history, social media. You've included all of your children over, under and over 21. You didn't screw anything up. Oh, and you've got a DS260 for you and each of the derivatives that are going to want to proceed, right? Hopefully you've done all of that right. I hope so. Many of you have probably already made mistakes, and you're probably going to have to unlock your forms in order to correct those mistakes because you rushed, you didn't listen to me when I said take your time. And so now you've got to correct your mistakes. And I would suggest you go ahead and correct your mistakes sooner rather than later. Please don't listen to idiots on the internet that tell you not to unlock your DS260 because doing so will cause delay. For God's sake, don't listen to those people. You need to make sure that your DS260 is correct. And the best time to do that is as early as possible, okay? So go ahead and correct your DS260 if you've already made a mistake. So then let's move on to documents. Documents is a bit of a strange process, a weird procedure. Until 2018, which was when DV 2019 was running, there was no need to send any documents to KCC prior to the interview. But in 2018, they introduced what I call the document procedure. And it was a complete disaster. It was a mess. What they ask you to do is to send certain documents to KCC, who will process those documents. Process means checking them, I guess, validating them against your DS260, that sort of thing, right? And they would basically be gathering documents, but they're not able. KCC are not empowered to disqualify your case or refuse your case or anything like that. So literally, they were just gathering the documents, checking them for validity against your DS260, and perhaps certain background checks would happen because of the documents you sent. But it was kind of a strange process. It messed up DV 2019. It then continued to cause problems in DV 2020, 2021, and 2022. And in December 9th of 2021, there was an announcement. Let me just make this, let me just show you my screen. There was, where do I do it? Nope, I want to make that bigger than that. I want to go like that. Yeah, there was this announcement for, this was December 9th, 2021. There was this announcement that the US government made to say that for, it says effective immediately, individuals who are randomly selected to participate in the diversity visa program for fiscal year 2022 only need to submit to the Kentucky Consular Center the DS-260 immigrant visa application form, blah, blah, blah. They no longer need to submit to KCC any other required documents, right? And this refers to DV 2022. Repeatedly in this announcement, it refers to this as being this new program, i.e. not sending documents. It refers to that as only being for DV 2022. The instructions, the official instructions that show how you process your document, these instructions, which you should have already looked at, in step 6, talk about submitting your supporting documents. And if you go to that particular page, it'll tell you which documents to send, okay? But, and it gives you the email address and everything else. So it makes me laugh when some of you don't know which email address should I send it to? You know, it's a common question. Which document should I send it to? The only reason you're asking me those questions really is because you haven't taken the time to read the instructions. So if you think you can get a green card without reading any instructions and just go through a life-changing opportunity as if it's going to the hairdressers, then you're nuts. You need to wake up and take some time and read the instructions first and foremost, okay? So please make sure you do that. And in the instructions, there's some important information, but I've also tried to simplify that a little bit, and I'm going to give you a couple of links for videos and an instruction guide, an article I wrote that helps you with that. So, I'll help you with this, but you do need to take it on your own shoulders to actually just read the instructions. And if you can't speak English very well, then get someone to help you or translate this page using Google Translate or something like that. Okay. Now, in reality, this announcement that I've just showing you here says this new pilot program, the need to not send documents, there's no need to send documents, that only applies to DV 2022. However, the program has been very successful. They call this a pilot program. It represents a change in the way they're working at KCC. And frankly, by doing this pilot program, which was in response to all of the disasters and the lawsuits and everything else that's been going on for the last 2 or 3 years, by doing this, they've given DV 2022 a chance of reaching near the quota, the 55,000 visas. Now, I don't think we'll get to 55,000, but we're going to get a lot closer than we would have done if they'd have stayed with the document procedure. So I'm kind of nervous that they're going to go back to the document procedure. They'll have made no more improvements to that process. They don't know what they're doing with documents apparently, and they'll screw the whole thing up again. But they'll cause problems in DV 2023. But we have to be prepared for either scenario, right? They may have the document procedure carrying on into DV 2023. Or they may say, and just like it was before this announcement on December 9th, or they may say the pilot program has been successful, we've reviewed it, and we're now no longer going to go and ask for documents. It was, we don't need to do that. We're just going to let people turn up for the interviews without having shown us the documents in advance. Okay, so right now, as it stands right now, the instructions say, for DV 2023, you need documents. The selected letter, the letter that says you've been selected, says you're going to be asked for documents, etc. And all of the instructions that you can find out there will say you need to provide documents. But even with all of those instructions, I'm not 100% certain that you're going to need documents, but I want you to prepare as if you're going to need the documents, okay? So that means you get your marriage certificate, your birth certificate, all of those documents, you get those things together. And I'll briefly show you birth certificates, court and prison records, military records, police certificates, and a copy of your photo of your biographic data page and of your passport. So I want you to prepare all of those documents, and some of you may be asked to send those documents, okay? So once your DS-260 is processed, they send out an email saying, now, here's an instruction of the documents you should send to us. And if I show you this article, I can show you how they'll ask for those documents. I'm gonna just get this for you. Yeah, this article here has a copy of the email that they send out. This is the email that they send out saying to send in documents. Okay, so there's some very important instructions in this article. Please make sure you read it. It relates to the naming convention of the documents, and also very, very importantly, the naming convention that you use, or the subject line that you use in the email that you send. If you get that email subject line wrong, you will be delaying your case, and you may even cost yourself the visa. So please do pay attention to this video that's in this document, this article, and one other video that I'm going to provide for you, which gives you a bit more instruction about the documents. So I don't intend to repeat myself about all of the documents. I'm just pointing out to you that right now, today, as of May 17th, I think you're going to have to provide documents. And some of you fairly soon, probably within the next couple of weeks, may even get emails from KCC saying send in the documents. But I'm not 100% sure that you're going to have to do that. And so, we'll have to wait and see. If any of you received an email saying, please send in documents, the email that I just showed, I'd like you to let me know that you've received that email, because that will be a strong indication, obviously, that they intend to continue that process going forward. I'm trying to contact KCC also to get their perspective on whether that's going to continue or not. We'll have to wait and see whether they answer that. But right now, proceed as if you're going to have to prepare documents. One important part of that is you'll have things like your marriage certificate and your birth certificate. You should have those things already. But police certificates take time to get. And so what I'm saying is go ahead and get those police certificates, right? Understand which police certificates you need to provide. It's likely that there's going to be more than one for many of you. They're needed for principal selectees and some derivatives over the age of 16. So that could be your spouse, obviously, and it could include older children. And you need to apply for those police certificates as soon as possible, so that you've got them to send off to KCC if they ask for them. And if they don't ask for them and you've applied for your police certificates too early, it hasn't cost you anything, because those police certificates are valid for 2 years, or accepted for 2 years, okay? Even in countries where on the police certificate, or the authorities say this police certificate is only good for 3 months or 6 months, you can ignore that. The US government accepts them for up to 2 years old. Okay, so there's no harm in applying for the police certificates now, even if you're not asked for those documents prior to processing. Okay, so that's really what I wanted to explain to you. That's really the whole of this video. I didn't want to make this a long video, because I've produced already 2 other videos that are specifically about instructions on how to prepare your documents, some tips about getting those documents together, what's a good way to prepare them, what's not a good way to prepare them. So there's 2 other videos you can watch about that, and an article that explains it all. But most importantly, pay attention to the naming convention of the documents, the completeness of the documents, the subject line on the email. That's absolutely essential. And just have a look at those videos and instructions, and make sure you fully understand it. really, I'm being absolutely serious. This can make the difference between getting a green card and not. If they have the document procedure and you fail to follow the document procedure correctly, believe me, this will cost some people their green card. It has in previous years, and it will do again. Okay, that's probably about all I need to be saying right now. I hope that was helpful. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll be giving updates about this document procedure and whether it applies to DV 2023 or not. And also we can talk about if people need to start being proactive in sending their documents without being asked, which you can do. I wouldn't really recommend it right now because we're not even sure that the documents are needed, but you can do that. And so we can talk about that in the next couple of weeks. So I hope to be able to update this video in about a week to 2 weeks time when we have a bit more information. Okay. And hopefully the government, will see some common sense and remove this document procedure for good. But if not, it's important to be prepared for it. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your time today. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.